middle class people who have a mortgage, the most broke guys on this planet. Ironically, you'll find that people who stay in a more rental place have more extra money because they don't have all these extra expenses. Otherwise, mortgage, that's where you get married, where all your money goes. Remember that. Helping is a good thing, but then you also have your bills to be able to fix, and the bank does not understand that you have to send money to your family for some, I don't know what, wedding, they're traveling, and the bank does not know that. Pay your mortgage in time. Somehow, even your family may have to come last, or your friends, they may have to come last. From the videos we did about renovating these apartments, most of the viewers were very much interested with the idea of mortgage. Big pleasure. Hustle a day here. Welcome for the new viewers, and I'll try to be as systematic as possible. And I'm going to have the video in 3 sections, where in the first place we shall talk about how I could even get a mortgage only having been in Sweden for 3 years. With time, I've gone through so much, and so I'll take you through the process of mortgage, what has been my experience. Thereafter, we shall go to the third part, where I'll be able to give a breakdown of how I do manage to service my mortgage. Let's go back to where it all started, because for me, this was like a dream come true, and I can only be thankful to everybody who has given me encouragement. Before that, I'd been staying in the northern part of Sweden as an asylum seeker, and then after I got my papers in order, I did move down to Stockholm City, where I went for my studies. And in the Swedish law, students are entitled to get students' apartments. That's where the story begins. I ended up on this student apartment, did my course, done with it. According to the law also, I'm supposed to move out because I have nothing to do with a student and I don't have any certification to show that I'm studying. So I cannot be able to stay on this 18 square meter room. If the days which I would believe in God's miracle, it was this Sunday, and you'll be able to understand by the end of the video. So on this Sunday specifically, a friend of mine who does not like being on a media, but let's call him Joseph. So Joseph came to my place that Sunday, and he found me in the middle of trying to just thinking of what am I going to do. So I showed him the letter from the people who run these apartments, and they had told me to move out in a month's time, which is quite standard. You'll get to understand as we move on why I'm taking up all these things. So we end up in Halunda to see these apartments which are out for sale. There's an app called, I think, Sweden.se eller Bostad.se, I think it's called, and that's a site in Sweden where people do look for accommodation when they want to buy apartments and that type of a thing in regard to property. We checked out 3 apartments, put up an offer without ever in my head dreaming of having a mortgage. If you watch the video to the last part, you are going to see how I'm going to pay the price for being ignorant about all this which is happening just now. So anyway, later on that evening, we got a call that our offer was the best, and so we will get the apartment. Even before we move forward, I've got a couple of things I would like to take up that are very crucial when you are thinking of a mortgage, and I did write on a small piece of paper here so that I don't forget here. The first thing that you have to be aware of is the amount of mortgage that you want, the length of time that you're going to pay the mortgage back to the bank. The third part that is important is for you to understand how often you'll be paying your mortgage back to the bank. In Sweden, the normal time is monthly basis. Usually there are two types of interest rates, where you have the variable interest rate and then the fixed interest rate. By being aware of this, you'll either save money or you will lose a lot of money. Variation interest rates are favorable for people who don't really stay on the apartment. Maybe they're moving or they're planning to move. That can be something for them. The first interest rate is a scenario where you'll be paying a fixed amount of mortgage rates to the bank every month, and they can give you a duration maybe of about 2 years, like in my case, where I'm paying 1.5% of the total mortgage to the bank every month with a fast interest rate. Okay, and this is very favorable, especially if you're going to be staying on your property. So one of the things the bank is going to look at, especially when it comes to this stage, is your mortgage credit. In Sweden, if you're getting a mortgage of about 1 million Swedish crown, you have to have a deposit of about 15%, which is 150,000 in the bank, so that they can service 85%. That's quite standard. Technically, I didn't even qualify for that mortgage. I'd not been able to save this down payment with the bank. And also, I'd just gotten my first job with the government. So we were two people going to service the mortgage, and so it wasn't hard. My friend does have a very good credit. He has a mortgage in town, so for him, his credentials were very high as compared to me. Fast forward, got my keys to my first apartment ever in Europe, in Sweden, in my life, and that was a good moment. Don't even think what's going to happen later on, because I'm going to pay a big price, because my problem was ignorance. Which takes us to the next part of this video, and this is where you see most of the people at times screaming, shouting very hard that mortgage is just a scam. I'm not surprised when you hear that. I can relate to it. It didn't even go long before I started to find challenges, and one of those things that really shocked me was the amount of hidden fees that I was going to pay. So finally I did move into my place, and after about 1 or 2 weeks, my friend came back for a visit. Okay, then he told me that we had to sit down and make an agreement of how we are going to service the mortgage. According to the agreement that we had done with the bank, I had 1% ownership of the apartment and my friend had 99%. So on this agreement that I'm going to do with him, if I pay him the down payment of 180,000 Swedish crown, then I'll be able to own the apartment 100%. And definitely that was my dream and that was my target. Within 2 years. Luckily, I didn't have to pay interest on this down payment that he had done to the bank. Talk of your God being with you in some of these scenarios, you know. I was also going to pay the fees, which we do pay to the housing association around, and these guys are responsible to take care of our parks, cleaning up, garbage collection. They're responsible to fix the electricity, water, and the general maintenance of the place. So that's also a lot of money, you know, and bear in mind, I'm only one person who's going to take care of all this. I've got my own basic needs that I need, miscellaneous things. I want to live, I want to eat, I need to clothe, I need to travel. There's a lot of things that you really have to consider when you're getting yourself into a mortgage. So anyway, fast forward, we had the agreement, and luckily I had to really work on my life. If I look at paying the mortgage, which I'm paying about should have been 8,000 Swedish crown, that this is 10 years way back. I'm paying him his down payment about 4,000 Swedish crown. I have to pay for the housing association. That's about 5,500 Swedish crown. Miscellaneous. There's internet. I've got clothes. I've got food. I've got this. My salary just came in the same day, and the same day it disappeared. That was my life for about 2 good years. So I'm not trying to scare you. Just take the bulls by its horns and move on. So within 2 years, I'd paid back his down payment, and after that, that's when I started having like a small buffer on top of my salary. Otherwise, the first 2 years, it was just me and the apartment. Through that process, I start understanding much better what does taking a mortgage mean and entail for you as a person. Let's move forward. We also talked about my ignorance, because when we were signing these papers, I also did a mistake of taking this variation mortgage rates, and the problem with that is I didn't have like a very standard payments every month. It used to vary very much, and there was something with the economy, so at times there's even a variation for about $100, 50, 80, and that just sort of like messed me up. This is a problem that I came to fix 5 years down the line, when I'd really understand what does a mortgage entail, and I opted to take the fixed mortgage rate, which somehow gave me that peace of mind, because it gives me the chance to be able to plan for my payments, and I know exactly how much I pay. 1.5% of the mortgage rate, that's quite very, very low compared to the variation mortgage rate. I checked the other day, it was about 3.2. So you see there, I'm saving a lot of money every month. This is a 78 square meter apartment, 2 bedrooms, sitting room, kitchen, 2 toilets, and with a balcony. It's quite big for one person, so usually when people are two, it's more logical because both parties are working, and so they can come together and pay the mortgage while the other person takes care of other miscellaneous things in the apartment. In my situation, moving in, I came direct from this student apartment, and the only thing that I took with me is my bed. Everything else I had to buy, and all these things cost. Nothing is cheap. So you find that like furnishing your house, it's a thing which never comes to an end. This flat is a 1975, and so there's quite a lot of things that do break down once in a while, though we recently had an uplift or great renovation of the place, and all these things also cost a lot of money, and these are things I didn't see when I was getting to take a mortgage. This is very different from people who are renting the place, because some of these problems, they just put it to their landlords and they're fixed. So you have to put the figure in the Swedish crown, because we're in Sweden, and so if you bought your apartment for about 1.5 million, and then next year, because of one or two reason happens, corona, you remember, and there's story of inflation and all that, the price can definitely go very low as compared to the original price that you bought. So that's what I call negative equity, and it's something which comes now and then, but the best thing is just to be patient. It becomes a problem if you're planning to sell your apartment just at that time and you want to move to somewhere else. Otherwise, if you can be able to wait, properties are one of the best investment where you can put your money, because in the most cases, the value always goes high. So the next thing is how I do service the mortgage, and I think so this is very different from one person to another, because it all depends also with your lifestyle, what type of family you have and all that. For me, being alone, I just live a very minimalistic type of life, and that gives me an edge, because I'm able to save a lot of money and just put it on the mortgage in the first hand. The other thing is staying here and labor being damn expensive in Europe, in the US, I've learned to do things by myself, DIY, and this is fun, because at times on the weekends you're at home, or you've got friends who are also good at these things, and so they can help you. You've definitely watched my other videos where I've been painting the kitchen, I painted my room, I had friends coming down to help me remove the wallpaper and just pimp up the place. So if you have to be paying for labor now and then, it's gonna be very, very expensive, and it will just crush you. So try to learn this YouTube, and that's the best school that you can have. I can paint nowadays. I can change. I'm good at electricals when it comes to cleaning. I don't know, painting. Any small things that can go wrong in an apartment, I do in the first hand want to fix. I want to put my hands there and see if I can change. It has to be extremely big, which I've not come, like the idea of changing the floor after the washing machine did mess up my kitchen. That was a bit on another level. Other is these basic things, I do it by myself. Thanks guys for watching. Your boy here, Hustler Day. I hope this video was of help, and if you're new on my channel, please do subscribe, give us a like, and share the video to the people who think this type of content is got value.